Good evening. Welcome to the June 17th, 2021 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. This meeting is being held via video conferencing in accordance with Governor Cuomo's Order 202.1. And until further notice, all of the board's meetings will be held remotely. So we ask the public to continually check the town's website for updates and new information. There are also options on the website for public comments and to pre-register to speak on public hearings. So please consider that for all future meetings. If you wish to view tonight's live meeting only, please do not join the Zoom meeting. Please go to the town's meeting portal, choose the meeting group from the drop-down on the left, and click on the live link at the top of the page. If you wish to be heard during a meeting but did not pre-register, please go to the town's meeting portal, choose the meeting group from the drop-down on the left, and you will find the information required to join the Zoom meeting. With that, I'd ask you that you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will be starting this meeting with the public hearings. We have applicants and members of the public standing by via Zoom webinar, which is being moderated by CTV. Charles Certain will mute the speakers until it is their time to give testimony before the board. Please be patient. If you find that you are having difficulties accessing the hearings, please visit the town clerk's meeting portal and click on the instructions link. Board members who must recuse themselves from any application will state so on the record and will be removed from the meeting until the end of the hearing. Also, there are a few public hearings and decisions that will not be heard tonight, and meaning they'll be adjourned. So please listen to hear when they will be rescheduled for. A reminder that applicants, agents, and members of the public speaking, other than attorneys, will be sworn in, will state their address for the record, and will offer their testimony as it relates to the application before the board. Members of the public are typically given a 3-minute time limit on their testimony, so please keep that in mind. Unless otherwise stated at the end of each hearing, all of these applications will remain open for written comments for all purposes until July 2nd, 2021, when they can be sent via email, mail, and/or dropped off at Town Hall. Additionally, in accordance with the governor's order, these hearings will be recorded and will be posted on the town's website. And with that, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
chair votes aye. And now I guess we will go on to
Okay, so on tonight's agenda, application number 16, Sagamore LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-230-1-20 is going to be withdrawn.
Okay, it's withdrawn, so there's no vote.
No vote. Application number 8, John T. and Mary Greerer, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-381-1-9.4 for property located at 24 Halsey Road in Remsenburg, Spionk, is being withdrawn. No action. Number 11 on tonight's agenda, Edward Burke Jr. and Patricia Burke, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-5-2-17 for property located at 57 Hampton Road, is being adjourned. I'm making a motion to adjourn that for all purposes until July 15th.
Wait, first we're gonna open it. We have to read it so I can say the board has jurisdiction.
Oh, it's reopened. Sorry. I'm taking over to keep my apologies. Applicant requests relief for the following provisions of the town code. 1, for a proposed 2-story dwelling, section 330-84D pyramid height, for a pyramid encroachment in the amount of 5,534 cubic feet, 2,767 cubic feet on the east side and west side respectively. 2, for a proposed deck around swimming pool, section 330-83C yards, and section 330-76D placement of accessory buildings, structures, and uses in all districts to allow a portion of the proposed deck around swimming pool to be located within the total side yard for a principal building. And 3, the proposed second floor addition to the existing garage, section 330-84D, for a proposed encroachment in the amount of 1,080 cubic feet and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
I would now have a motion to adjourn that for all purposes until July 15th.
Do we need to do a motion to reopen first? I think we do.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry, we're just adjourning the decision, or we are reopening it to accept that?
We're adjourning the application. This was re-advertised. They were
Okay.
supposed to come in.
Okay, no problem. All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
Okay, Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
chair votes aye.
Okay, moving on to 12, LPD 4 LLC. That's 900-263-3-33.1 for property located at 134 East Montauk Highway.
There's a lot of interference from you.
An application to, I'll make a motion to adjourn that to August 5th.
Second.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
chair votes aye. I have somebody with a lawnmower, I think. I don't know whether that's the interference outside of my
Microphone.
house.
Number 13 on tonight's agenda, NYCELEX Real Estate Holdings Development Corp. Suffolk County Tax Map 900-349-2-24 for property located at 376 Main Street. Motion to adjourn for all purposes to July 1.
Second.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
chair votes aye.
Number 14 on tonight's calendar, Production Holdings LLC and Tyrone Trachunium, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-355-2-18.6 and 18.7 for property located at 57 and 61 Station Road in West Hampton Beach. I have a motion to adjourn for all purposes until September 16th.
Second.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
chair votes aye.
Application number 15 on tonight's agenda, Tyrone Trachunium, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-355-2-18.6 for property located at 57 Station Road. Motion to adjourn for all purposes until September 16th.
Second.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
chair votes aye.
Application number 16, Production Holdings LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-355-2-18.7 for property located at 61 Station Road in West Hampton. Motion to adjourn for all purposes until September 16th.
Second.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
chair votes aye.
On to the decision calendar. 135 New Light LLC. I have a motion to reopen.
Second.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
chair votes aye. It's reopened.
I have a motion to accept the written submissions and close upon acceptance of the written submissions with the decision this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Liliana Danzo, motion to reopen.
Second.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
chair votes aye. Reopen.
We will now accept the written submissions, and I have a motion to close after accepting the written submissions with a decision this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
On the decision calendar, the Town of Southampton, motion to adjourn the decision till August 5th, 2021.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Ralph and Mia Petrillo. Motion to reopen to accept written submissions.
Second.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Reopen.
Motion to close after acceptance of the written submissions with the decision later this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Diego and Marlene Quisby. Motion to adjourn the decision till July 1st.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
85 Eastway LLC. Motion to adjourn the decision till July 15th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Barbara Swislowski. Motion to adjourn the decision till 7/1.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I have the last one, which is the application of KTB Flying Point Revocable Trust. I would make a motion that we adjourn that application, the decision, until our November 18th meeting. It is tax map number 900-160-126. The address is 500 Flying Point Road in Watermill. So that's motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Recuse
Opposed.
myself on that application.
Yeah, Mr. DeSessa is recused. Okay, so back to the start of the agenda.
Okay, start of the agenda. Number 1 on tonight's agenda, Alyssa McLean and Andrew Winter. Suffolk County Tax Map 900-15-23. Property located at 50 Wickatuck Drive in Noyak. Applicant requests relief from section 330-84D pyramid height for a proposed encroachment in the amount of 4,650.08 cubic feet. 1,661.36 cubic feet on the east side, 2,988.72 cubic feet on the southwest side for a proposed addition to the second floor of an existing 2-story dwelling on a non-conforming lot and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is John Huber. I am the attorney for the applicants, Alyssa McLean and Andrew Winter. I see Andy has joined us. Before I begin, I just wanted to mention to the board what a tremendous asset Candace is. She's been really great in accepting materials and communicating with us. So I just wanted to thank her for her efforts. And I wanted to thank all the board members for the time you've devoted to the application.
Thank you. We're very lucky to have Candace and Katie. Yeah, and Charlie.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. So in furtherance of the preceding statement, based on the application and the supporting materials submitted to the board, and as explained during our time together tonight, we believe we satisfy the area variance criteria set forth at Southampton Town Code Section 330-166, paragraph C, and New York State Town Law, Section 267-B, paragraph 3B. I'll briefly summarize the subject premises and the existing conditions. And I would like to note for the board that Christopher DeSuno, project architect, has also joined us. The subject property at 50 Wickatuck Drive, Noyak, is situated in the R10 zoning district. The lot measures 50 feet wide by 161.94 feet deep. The premises was purchased by the applicants on August 6th, 2018, and are improved with a 1,200 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, which is occupied by the applicants, Alyssa and Andrew, and their teenage daughter. As indicated by details 1 and 3 on sheet A200 in the plans that we've submitted, 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom are located on the first floor. The master bedroom and a bathroom are located on the second floor. The ridge line of the structure's existing roof is 23 feet 6 inches above grade, and this will remain unchanged in the event the board approves the application. The proposed improvements are as follows. On sheet A200 in the plans that we've submitted, there's a detail number 2. And this depicts the proposed second floor configuration. which will consist of wall roof dormers, front and rear, and a balcony in the rear that would be adjacent to the new proposed master bedroom. The renovated second floor would consist of a reconfigured bedroom 1. It's labeled as bedroom 1 on the plan. That's the former master bedroom with closet space and a bathroom. And there will be a new master bedroom with ample closet space and a master bath on the northern side of the second floor. And there will be a home office added.
Would you be able to, or someone on your team be able to screen share just so we could have this up for anybody viewing? Is that possible?
Yes, yes, sir, Mr. DeSessa, I could screen
Thank
share.
you. Appreciate
Of
it.
course.
Just makes it a
My
little
pleasure.
easier for everyone watching and interpreting, and
Of course.
we appreciate
Yes,
that.
sir. Okay, so if you need me to enlarge or clarify, I'd be happy to do it. Can everyone see my screen at this point?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so where my cursor is moving is the existing ground floor. And so the bedroom is on the lower left corner here. There's a foyer coming in. Here's the living room, bathroom, dining room, kitchen. This would remain unchanged. This is here in the lower right where my cursor is, shows the existing master, stair and hall, bathroom, and then this is the ridge. Basically, it's a gabled entranceway on the ground floor in the rear. Now up here where my cursor is the new floor plan. Here's the former master, which was now labeled as bedroom 1 with built-ins over here, closet space, bathroom. Here's a new master bath, which is the existing bath would be converted into a new master bath. Here's the new master bedroom, this balcony, and the office. The total square footage of these improvements is 421 square feet. If I may, I'll jump over to the photo exhibits that I prepared. This is some of the homes in the neighborhood that I thought were noteworthy. So if I may, I'll just zip back quickly. This is the subject premises, photo number 2. Here's photo number 1. And it's noteworthy to mention that the premises that abuts to the east here depicted received a variance nearly identical in 2009. This variance that was granted was for slightly more than 4,000 square feet, cubic feet, I apologize. So the relief is nearly identical. And the issue here really is that these lots, the structure that we're discussing, the 50 Wickatuck, has existed in this configuration since 1957. Prior to that, the CO was a pre-existing certificate of occupancy, and the structure existed in this configuration since before October 14th of 1957, including this ridge line. Since that time, the only things that were added was an outdoor shower, a hot tub, and a deck, all of which have a certificate of occupancy. With respect to the area variance criteria, the benefit to the applicants will be substantial, whereas there is no identifiable detriment to the neighborhood or the community. The reason that the applicants seek this renovation is to give them some more habitable space inside. They have a work-at-home lifestyle, and they anticipate that they'll be caring for some aging relatives in the years that follow. Alyssa's mom is aging, and Andrew has a sister, an older sister. So the benefit to the applicants would be substantial, as indicated by the photograph packet I've submitted. We can see that the neighborhood is undergoing a transition as the homes one by one are being updated. For example, the homes at 43 Wickatuck, which is photo number 4, This one has been undergone very extensive renovations. 48 Wickatuck, which is photo number 6, has been updated. And 59 Wickatuck, which is photo number 8 in the packet, has undergone extensive renovations. And these are all within the recent past. And they've been updated to one degree or another, and the modest scale of our proposed improvements are in keeping with the trend. And as I mentioned, in 2009, the ZBA granted a nearly identical pyramid variance. That was 4,036.5 cubic feet for the premises of 52 Wickatuck Drive. The proposed improvements will not cause an undesirable change or detriment to the neighborhood's character. If need be, Mr. DeSuno, I'm sure, would be happy to discuss with you his design concept formulated in collaboration with the applicant. And it is indeed in keeping with the architecture of the neighborhood, as well as the existing architecture of the home. The benefit sought by the applicants is to increase the home's habitable space without increasing the structure's footprint. The proposed second-story additions cannot be made without the requested variance insofar as the subject parcel is only 50 feet wide, which creates a relatively constrained sky plane. The board will note that many of the neighborhood parcels are of a similar size and width. The requested variance is not substantial within the totality of circumstances insofar as the proposed improvements will not exceed the structure's existing ridgeline and will add relatively little visual mass outside the applicable sky plane. I can pull up for you the elevations that depict this. Okay, so this is where the cursor is now is the existing south elevation. In other words, that's the view of the house if we were looking at it from Wickatuck Drive. To the right of that is the proposed south elevation. And as you can see, we do not exceed the ridge line. This is the wall roof dormer that will be installed on the second level. As I move down.
What are the
Okay.
what are the ceiling heights in there? Maybe a
Chris,
question
would
for
you-
Mr. DeSuno.
Yes, Chris, would you please answer the question? The question is the ceiling heights inside the existing structure.
But Chris, I have to swear you in first, unless you're an attorney.
Sure.
So if you can just state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Christopher DeSuno. My business address is 36 West Water Street, Sag Harbor, New York.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Well, we have on the second floor they're partially vaulted ceilings, so they will go up to. Actually, I could show you my section here. The eaves of the roof on the outside edges of the dormer will only be 7 feet high, and it'll slope up in the middle an additional 2 feet.
Yeah, so it's modest ceiling height. We're just checking.
Very
We
modest.
ask if you were asking for 10 or 11 feet, we'd ask you to potentially reduce that to reduce the pyramid, but in my
Right. No,
opinion, the
it's
proposal-
we're right above the window header at the eave, so
Perfect.
it's as low as we can go, really.
Oh, that's perfect. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Mr. Huber. Thanks, Mr. DeSuno. I think just
Sure.
Of course, thank you. We welcome all questions. What's currently on my screen now is the rear elevation or the north elevation of the home. Here to the left is the existing, and to the right of that here is the proposed elevation. You can see we're adding some windows, and here's the little balcony that is just off of the proposed master bedroom. When considered within the context of the neighborhood as a whole, the board will note that two-story dwellings are common throughout the neighborhood. And several of the homes exceed in size and scale this proposed renovation. The proposed variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the neighborhood's physical or environmental conditions. In fact, pursuant to SECRA, this is a type 2 action, which is categorically determined not to have a significant adverse environmental impact. The applicants do not seek a variance to alleviate a self-created difficulty, and the board's granting of the variance would not have an adverse impact on the neighborhood and would not undermine any relevant policy. I'd be happy to entertain any questions, or if the board would like to direct any questions to Mr. Winter or Mr. DeSuno, I'm certain they'd be happy to respond.
My only question is the immediately adjacent properties to the east. I think it's to the east and the west. It's kind of northeast, southwest, but the immediately adjacent properties that appear to be on parcels of similar in size. So those both two-story dwellings, do you know?
Let's see. So this is the existing view of 48 Wickatuck Drive, which abuts to the west.
Okay,
And as you can see, the configuration here, yes, this is a two-story. And then the home that abuts immediately to the east is 52 Wickatuck Drive. And that is the property that received a pyramid variance in 2009.
okay. So both adjacent on both sides have a second story. And it appears to me, looking at the aerial, that what we have pretty small and very narrow lots. The size of this lot, according to the survey, is 8,097 square feet, I believe.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that's correct.
Yep. So, and it appears that the adjacent lots are similar. So, well, it would be nice to be able to have less pyramid relief. In this circumstance, with a lot of this shape and of this small size, I can understand that you're if you want to have a second story on a dwelling, you're going to need that around the amount of variance relief that's for pyramid that's being requested. So I believe it's the size and shape of the lot that kind of drives the necessity for the relief.
Correct.
So those are my only comments. I didn't have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions from members of the board or Katie?
Have you
No.
heard from any of the neighbors?
I see that there's almost 2,600 square cubic feet existing pyramid, right?
Yeah.
I have
So
a graphic that may help show that. If you
yeah, the
would like me
graphic
to
shows
show my
that
screen.
you're looking for about 2,000 additional cubic feet of additional pyramid relief that's being created by the dormers. Okay, I see that. You want to open up to see if there's any comments from the public?
Sure, but I know Brian asked, and I want to ask as well. Have you heard from any of the neighbors, John?
We have not, Mr. Chairman, and one of the neighbors in particular is Marguerite Wolfson. She is the planning director for the town of East Hampton. She's a neighbor. I had spoken with her directly. She and I have a number of matters on a professional basis in my interactions with the town of East Hampton. And I shared a telephone conference with her and we exchanged emails. I provided her with copies of the plans and she has expressed no objections.
Okay. All right. So I'll now ask if there is anyone from the public who is waiting to be heard on Zoom this evening in connection with the application of McLean and Winter. This is for property located at 50 Wickatuck Drive in Noyak. If you are waiting to be heard, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
I see no hands.
No hands. Okay. If not, Mike, it is yours.
Okay, we will close the public hearing, leave it open for written submissions until July 2nd. And then there will be a decision at the July 15th meeting.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you for your comments. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you, everyone. Be well.
Thank you.
Number 2 on tonight's calendar Hanley Farm LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-56-1-15. Property located at 369 Sag Road in Sagaponack. Applicant requests relief for the following provisions of the Town Code, Section 330-109. Fences, walls, accessory driveway structures, and clotheslines for a proposed 8-foot-high agricultural deer fence that runs along the perimeter of the subject property, with the exception of the southerly property line that measures 309.44 feet long and the southwest property line that measures 366.55 feet long on a non-conforming lot. Section 330-109A1 to allow an 8-foot-high fence to be located in the required front yard where a maximum height of 4 feet is permitted. Section 330-109A2 to allow an 8-foot fence to be located in the required side and rear yard where a maximum height of 6 feet is permitted. And 3, Section 330-109A3 to allow the proposed fence to have a height of 8 feet where no fence or wall shall have a height greater than 6 feet, and any other relief necessary.
The board has jurisdiction. Kieran, do you want us to open the second one as well?
Yes, this is Kieran Pate Murphy. I would like to open up the second one as well.
Yep.
Josiah Foster, LLC, because it is connected to the other parcel. In fact, it's surrounded by 3 sides of property owned by Haney Farm and then the railroad tracks. So it is part of a Sagaponack Farm distillery operates on this property.
Okay.
So I would like to combine them, yes.
That's fine.
Sorry.
Right, that's
Let me
okay.
get to that.
Very
Okay,
important.
so,
Keith,
number
nice to
3
see you this evening.
Good
Thank
evening.
you very much. Can you hear me, Adam?
I can hear you. I can see you. I can hear you.
Okay.
Number 3 on tonight's calendar, Josiah Foster LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-56-1-16. For property located at 331 Sag Road in Sagaponack, applicant requests relief from the provisions of the Town Code 330-109 fences, walls, and accessory driveways and structures for a proposed 8-foot-high agricultural deer fence that runs along the easterly property line and the southerly property line on a non-conforming lot. Section 330-109A2 to allow an 8-foot-high fence to be located in the required side and rear yard where a maximum height of 6 feet is permitted. And Section 330-109A3 to allow the proposed fence to have a height of 8 feet where no fence or wall shall have a height greater than 6 feet, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Okay, good evening. This is Kieran Pate Murphy for the applicants. Haney Farm LLC and Josiah Foster LLC. This property is not in the agricultural overlay district. If it was, then we would be going to the planning board and it would be allowed to have this type of agricultural fence. It's going to be the typical agricultural fence with the wooden poles and the black mesh. And there's going to be, I believe, 3 gates on the property. The property was originally used for the storing of wood. There was chopping up of wood. There was, grinding it up. And so the soil was kind of left, it wasn't that great. So they've been trying to upgrade it, and they've gotten to the point where they can grow a lot of materials. They have a rhubarb bourbon that they sell, and they tried to they've been planting rhubarb on the property, and the leaves are supposed to be poisonous to deer, but they're still eating it. And there was a discussion about that in the application, showing different sections. This is the family that farms. This is the Forster family, and they farm several hundred acres in the town, within the town of Southampton. And they do use potatoes in their distillery. And this property has gone through several planning board approvals, which is in the application. There is adjacent to it, to the Josiah Foster, there is another ag reserve which received approval from the planning board, and that also had to get a variance from the ZBA. That adjacent one to the east was had an agricultural easement on it, so that had to get a construction permit from the planning board. So that again had to go to the planning board. Here we have a property that is not does not have any kind of easement on it. It's been restored. There was a very intense, loud use before. Now it's has a tasting room, and you can go buy spirits there. The planning board had the character of the neighborhood. On the other side of the railroad tracks is farmland, and that I believe has a deer fence on it. And there's this on the north side. I received two neighbors said they didn't have any objections, which I'll put in the record. The person who lives on 9 Ranch Court, which would be, behind the distillery, and that was Christopher D'Amelio, and the other person was Jeffrey Glicklick on 11 Ranch Court, and then William Hopping on 40 Narrow Lane East. He approved both the parcels. I haven't received any opposition. Nobody's called me. This deer fence, they've tried, to grow rye, and they planted rye and oats, and the deer come out and they eat it. But they have had some flowers just to restore the soil. So, I mean, this isn't within the character of the neighborhood. It is something that I don't know if you had time to read. There was a referral sent, I think, to Katie from the planning board, from the planning staff. And, my client's willing to agree to, no additional vegetative screening on the outside of the deer fence. So you'll still have the open space of seeing the farmland. They'll keep it clean of garbage and debris. You can put in that if this agricultural use is discontinued, would have to come down. That's in all the deer fences, and it, won't exceed 8 feet. And it's going to be made out of the typical materials. There's a, black gate that's you can see through. And so this is part of, it is part of the agricultural. There is agricultural land there. I think it just didn't get put in the district because it was on the other side of the tracks, and it was just being loaded up with wood, and it was a non-conforming use. And it was just kind of left abandoned. I mean, there are old photos showing there's a concrete barn that was there. That's now the tasting room. And, it's been operating for over a year. So it's, it's only open certain hours. It's not open late. But the main thing is, they want to grow crops on this that they can use in the manufacturing of the bourbon and vodka and whiskey, and it's all getting eaten up. So that's the thing. You can drive by today and see there's rhubarb, and it looked pretty healthy to me, but further discussion that it is being eaten. So that's the situation. So would respectfully request that you grant this a variance.
Okay.
And if there's any questions.
Yep. Well, I just want to mention at the outset, this board handles fence applications in a very careful way. Residential fences generally, requests for residential fences that are above what the zoning allows, are in residential districts for residential purposes, are generally not favored by our board.
Yes.
But we make an exception for property that's being used for agriculture, for food, and for other agricultural purposes. And so there are several decisions over the years other decisions of our board that is allowed and have allowed an 8-foot high fence to protect agricultural properties so you can grow food and plants without them being disturbed by deer. So I think it appears to me, based on what you said, Kieran, and I'm just one member of this board, that you've established that the applicants are using this property for agricultural purposes, and that they're having an issue because the deer are eating
Yes.
what's growing on the property.
Yes.
And so that's a problem. We want the deer to have somewhere to go. We don't want them to have nowhere to go. That's why we can't have 8-foot fences everywhere. But for agricultural purposes, for growing food and plants, that is something that we have treated differently. And so that's how I see this application.
Okay.
I agree with you totally, Adam.
Yeah, I went to the property this week. It's clearly being used for agricultural purposes. I would want a condition in there that if agricultural purposes cease or it's not being actively farmed, that the fence would have to come down.
Yep,
I
I
agree.
agree.
Yeah, my client has no problem with that. And that's typical with agricultural fences.
And for the public at large, if this was designated an agricultural overlay district, you wouldn't have to come here. You'd be able to do it with just
Right.
going to the planning board. So in
Yes,
my mind, that's different than a residential fence application, even though it's falling under the same criteria. It's a different situation here.
yes, that's correct.
And you also mentioned that your client be willing to put in a condition about no vegetative plantings outside of the fence?
Right. They want to keep the view.
Okay.
And
So
it's easier to farm. I mean, they don't need, a hedge or anything for that. They want to
Okay.
show the open space and show the materials that are being grown, on the, as you come, because the distillery's towards the back of the property.
Okay, so yeah, definitely we want to have that condition in the decision as well.
Okay.
Have you heard, well, I know you mentioned that there were a couple of neighbors you heard from. But there wasn't anyone you heard from, Kieran, that was opposed to this?
No, I did not. I
Yeah.
did not receive anything.
Okay.
And I did not receive any phone calls.
Okay. Any other questions from members of the board or Katie?
No, I just wanted to add that the list that Kieran went over, those were recommendations from Anthony. Anthony wasn't able to be here tonight, so he did email Candace, Kieran, and I, and the list that Kieran mentioned were Anthony's recommendations as well.
Okay, and so our decision is going to be consistent with Anthony's recommendation?
Yep.
Yes, that would be terrific. Yeah.
All right. All right, any other questions from members of the board? Is there anyone from the public who is waiting to be heard this evening in connection with the applications? There are two of them. One is Haney Farm LLC for property located at 369 Sag Road in Sagaponic, and the other is for Josiah Foster LLC for property located at 331 Sag Road in Sagaponic. If you are waiting to be heard, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
See no hands.
No hands. Okay. If not, Brian, it's yours.
All right, seeing or hearing no one, I move that we close applications 2 and 3, leaving them open for written submissions till July 2nd with a decision on July 15th for both.
Second,
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
aye.
Mr. Tudhill,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Hey.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you for being here this evening, Karen, and for your comments.
Thank you very much. Good evening.
You too.
Bye.
Okay, number 4 on tonight's agenda, Linda Matera, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-343-1-11 for property located at 4 Sanderling Lane in East Quogue. Applicant requests relief from Town Code Section 33011, Residential District Table of Dimensional Regulations for a principal front yard setback of 30 feet, where 40 feet is required for a proposed front covered porch addition to an existing dwelling and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction. We're looking for Michael Matera.
Yeah, I don't see him.
Well, we may have
Second
to-
call it.
We'll second call that.
Second call it.
All right, number 5 on tonight's agenda, Robert Patsma, and Janet Whalen, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-102-3-14.39 for property located at 141 Mecox Road in Watermill. Applicant requesting determination as to whether or not the proposed accessory building, garage with accessory apartment above, is a subordinate or incidental building pursuant to Town Code Section 330-5 definitions because of its size in proportion to the main dwelling and its use. In addition, applicant requests relief from Town Code Section 330-11.2F accessory apartment special standards for a principal front yard setback of 26.3 feet, where 56 feet is required, 70% of the required 80 feet for a proposed accessory apartment, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Evening, Kevin. Just have to swear you in.
Yes, sir.
State your name and address, please.
Kevin Springer, 61 Channing Cross, Hampton Bays, New York, 11946.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I certainly do.
Thank you. Can you tell us about the application?
Yes, I can. So, yes. Somebody say something? Oh, okay. So when we put forth this garage, it's first of all, it's a 2-story, and the first floor is a garage, and the second floor only is a what falls under the accessory apartment guidelines, even though at the present is not going to be used an accessory apartment. It's mainly for family, as the main house is old and it's basically a farmhouse that is kind of chopped up a little bit, but very nicely done. With bringing that forward, we came into the fact that the front yard, which we have a pre-existing CO for from prior to 1957, so this 2-story frame dwelling, and that's where this came about, which they did do an addition, and it wasn't picked up many years ago either. So now the house hasn't moved. The house is built that way. The house is well over 100 years old. There's really not, there's no hidden agenda. There's no secrets here. The building itself that we're proposing, I know that Marge had mentioned some accessory.
How big's the house? How big's the building? What's the percentage?
Well, the building, let's see. So the percentages were 24%. The accessory apartment habitable square space is 935, and the main house is 1,913.
I'm having a really hard time hearing you. I don't know who's in the background or what.
Yeah, I don't think my connection is very good tonight. Let me just see something here.
Hard to follow.
Yeah, I can't understand it.
Let's see. I don't know what I can do. I'm just trying to.
Well, just continue and let's see what happens.
Okay.
All right, so how big's the house? How big's the garage?
The house is 3,913 square feet. The apartment is 935 square feet for a habitable space of 24%. So we're well within our guidelines of the 35%, because the lower floor of the accessory building is an actual garage.
But it counts toward the accessory building size.
It does.
To the accessory building size, yes, but with the property, as far as the property goes, we have almost several acres there that has not come up according to Marjorie or or Candace.
So we're looking for the combined garage and accessory apartment percentage versus the house.
Yes, but the issue is the front of the house. The main issue of the application is that our front yard for the main dwelling is much too close for what our zoning is. That is what just came up in that's why we're here today, actually. Not that we don't fall into the guidelines for the accessory apartment.
Yeah, the accessory build, you're looking for an interpretation that the building is subordinate and accessory because of size. So you have to be over 25%.
I don't think that came up, did it?
Kevin, just tell us the size of the garage, would you please?
Yes. I'll give it to you right now.
Don't tell us our job, will you please?
let's see, let me do a quick calculation because that was not in the thing here, but
That's how it was advertised.
what's that?
That's how it was advertised.
Oh, I did not see that. I didn't even know that came up. My apologies. Well, then we are 34 by 54, which still not going to be much. 1,836 square feet.
Right.
And the house itself is a little over 4,000.
So the garage is how big plus the apartment? How big are both of those buildings together?
1,836 square feet is the accessory building. That's the both floors.
So that would mean it's a little under 50% by percentage. If the 3913 for the residents is compared to the 1836, I think we're
Yeah, the
about
3914 is a little bit more than that because that's the actual habitable square footage of the house.
how much more?
About 4,200 square feet.
Okay.
That's not good enough just to say about.
Well, I don't have the actual house plan here. That is why.
Well, that's what you need to bring when you come.
You can submit that to us, Kevin.
I can have that.
In either case, it's less than 50%.
Right.
Yes,
Right. Okay, which is good news.
yes.
Okay. All right.
And then it's gonna be, registered accessory apartment, everything you have to do with the town?
Yes, absolutely.
Kevin, on the plan you submitted, it says proposed accessory apartment. You have 2,484 square feet. You have a 46 by 54 proposed.
Yeah, but that's not the habitable square.
No, I understand, but that's the size you put on the survey. You were saying the total square footage you're now talking about is 1836, and that is 2,484. What's the difference?
I have 54 by 34. Let me just check this survey.
But on the survey, it's 46 by 54.
I believe we actually scaled it down. I believe
Right, so the survey needs to be changed.
yes. I can have that tomorrow, Monday, the latest.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, looking at the survey and looking at the existing dwelling versus the accessory apartment, my guess was it was around 50%. That's what I thought it was going to come out to. So this sounds pretty consistent with that. But yeah, Kevin, if you can just confirm the numbers and submit that to us, that would be great. So then besides that, and I think if we're talking about less than 50%, I think it's easy enough for us to make a determination that the garage with the accessory apartment is subordinate. I'm just speaking for myself, but that's how I see it.
No, understood.
Okay, and then the other relief we have is principal front yard setback, 56 feet to 26 feet for the proposed accessory apartment. So maybe you can talk us about that a little bit as to why that relief is needed, because I'm looking at the survey and I'm trying to see why it can't be less, the setback relief.
Well, that's the main dwelling. That house is 100 years old. That's where.
I see. That's
But
related.
so it's not to the accessory apartment, it's to the
It's
main
to the house.
house.
No, it's to the main dwelling.
So,
Yeah.
No, the accessory apartment is 90 feet off the property line,
Yeah.
which is what our
No,
requires.
now I get it. What it is, when we have the accessory apartment applications, we have whatever presently exists, which often is structures with COs that have been there for a very long time and have non-conforming setbacks, and that's what this is. So no worries, that's not an issue.
Right.
Under the circumstances. For the proposed garage, it would be something.
Yes. Well, we would have moved it back because we have plenty of room if that was the case.
That's exactly what I was going to mention.
Yes. I know that Marjorie has a couple of notes. One, which we just realized, the barbecue kitchen, outdoor kitchen, or whatever you'd like to call it. We will be filing for that next week. And the shed, which I sent her an email today, that's pre-existing. It was just refurbished on the outside, so I'm not sure. She didn't get back to me if that was, there is no other building that I can understand that she's talking about, so I don't have an answer for that one yet.
Okay. Well, her comment on the shed was, let me see. Well, she wanted the outdoor barbecue to be legalized. And I mean, if the shed doesn't have a CO, we would want it removed to move to a conforming location.
I don't think the shed exists.
Well, does it have a CO, Kevin?
Yeah, there's a CO from
CO for it.
1957 for an accessory storage building shed.
Okay, so that's, if it's on the CO, then it can stay where it is.
Yeah. Can I just get clarification, Adam?
Yep.
On the survey, there is a frame shed up in that corner, that little corner.
Yep.
That's the one I think she's talking
Yeah, well,
about.
that's what I'm trying to get. Susan,
And
that's what I'm
honestly,
trying to
I
get
looked at the
clarification
property.
on
I
myself.
didn't see it, so I don't know. Maybe it's gone. I don't know.
Well, I have, that one in the corner is gone. That has,
Yes.
that has been removed. That was removed a
Right.
couple of years ago. The only shed left is the little shed, which basically right now is kind of right next to where the garage accessory apartment would be.
I don't know. I'm confused by it, so.
Okay.
Well, what I'm gonna believe though is we have to, as we already discussed, we're going to have this survey redone anyway, because I'm looking at the aerial now, and I've also been out to the property several times, and that shed is, the one in the far corner that Susan's
Doesn't
talking
exist.
about is no longer existing.
Yeah, so we would just need to have that taken off the survey. That's fine. Okay. But, no, otherwise, you know, I think this application is mostly, it really is just dealing with that determination. So, so I think it's, at least for me, I'm fine with it. Okay, any other questions or from members of the board or Katie?
So we need the survey revised, and we need a letter from an architect, doing the calculation, give the entire garage structure versus the entire house.
Yep.
Okay, and Kevin, have you heard?
The only neighbor I've heard from is Mr. Golden directly across the street at 160 Mecox. And he had no issues with it whatsoever.
Okay.
Plus he can't see it anyway, so he was, we have a very large hedgerow on basically all sides of the property. It's at least 12 feet high.
Okay. All right, any other questions or members?
The only one, and I believe everybody, actually, we sent out 9.
What about the fences? There's some 6-foot fences.
No, there's hedges. There's 12-foot hedges.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, the property
Oh, okay,
is
sorry.
completely enclosed by hedges. That's okay.
Very dense hedges.
My mistake. Sorry. Go ahead.
Hard to see the property at all.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to ask if there was anyone from the public who was waiting to be heard this evening on Zoom in connection with the application of Huffna and Whalen. This is for property located at 141 Mecox Road in Watermill. If there is anyone waiting to be heard, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
I see no hands.
Okay. If not, Susan, it is yours.
Okay, we're going to close the public hearing, and we're going to accept written submissions by July 2nd, with decision on July 15th.
Second,
Okay, Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill,
aye.
Daley,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Tessa,
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Well,
Michael,
before we
Thank you for your comments, Kevin. Have a good rest of your night.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
be-
You too.
Michael is here now.
Okay,
Okay, number 6 on tonight's agenda.
I'm sorry, Brian, can you recall, case number 4? I spoke to the applicant. He has the, Zoom information now, so he should be on.
Here, he's here.
Hey, I don't have to reread it, do I?
No.
Okay. Number 4, Linda Matera, property at 4 Sanderling Lane in East Quogue.
Okay, so we have Mr. Matt Matera. Gotta share your video and your unmute yourself.
we can see you, but you're still.
How's that?
Perfect.
Better?
Yep.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry, I
Yes.
muted. Okay.
I hear you.
Unless your attorney has to swear you in, so if you can, I know you're driving, so if you just state your name
Well,
and address.
I pulled over. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Michael Matera, 4 Sanderling Lane, East Quogue.
Okay. And you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay. Thank you. You can tell us about the application.
Well, I want to put a front porch with an overhang and a porch on the bottom with some steps leading up to my house. It's the reason for the variance is the house has to be set back 30 feet, and the porch obviously is going to extend an extra 10 feet from that. So I need a variance of 10 feet.
Okay. So I want to ask you about the survey.
Yes.
So we have an existing survey, and then we have a survey that appears to be marked in red where the porch is going. Is that something you did?
Yes, I did. Correct. And then I had my architect draw another one, and I submitted that one yesterday, the new one with the architect's drawn plan.
Okay. Well, we don't have that yet. So, but in any case, what I was going to tell you is that we need a survey or something from the architect. I mean, we really need something showing the exact measurements. And but in addition, drawing on a survey is problematic, just so you know.
Okay.
Okay, it really is.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. But I did submit it yesterday in an envelope with both an architect's drawing to scale, and the surveyor redid it and came out and resubmitted a new survey with the porch, a proposed porch on it.
That's great, and as long as it has that measurement, 30 feet.
Yes.
Then we have what we need. We need if for any relief that's being requested, we need it for it to be shown on a survey, or sometimes we'll have it on something other than a survey, but usually the survey. So I can look at it and it's up. The measurements are there, and so I'm glad to hear that you'd submitted it.
I did. Okay.
All right. Front covered porch is a common amenity throughout the township. I don't have a problem with the application.
Okay. Any other questions or members of the board?
Is this the one where their comments were about the 6-foot fences?
Yeah. Why don't we go to the comments? Thank you for reminding me. Okay. So, Michael, we did get some comments from the building department. This is from Marjorie Riley, building inspector. Here's what she told us. The proposed front covered porch shown on the survey submitted with the application appears to have been drawn by someone other than the surveyor. The proposed porch shall be put on the survey by the surveyor, and the applicant shall submit copies to the board. We've already discussed that. And 2, the lot coverage calculation on the survey shall be revised to include the front covered porch. 3, though not part of this application, the roof over the open patio at the rear of the dwelling, the outdoor barbecue, and any fence over 4 feet in height constructed without the benefit of a building permit shall be legalized. Do you have fences or other structures that are non-conforming? Do you know?
Well, I don't believe they're non-conforming. The only fences that I put up since I'm living there are 4 foot or below, there's some stockade on this one side and in the back that were there before I bought the house, before I moved in. My neighbor actually put up the one stockade. My neighbor to the west put the one stockade, and the one actually replaced one that was there already. And behind the house, that stockade was there, you know, when I purchased the home.
Okay. Well, I just want you to, if you can, make sure that everything that's on your property in terms of fences, and I know that something was mentioned about I guess an outdoor barbecue, you know, is legal in terms of its location. If not, we would ask you to make it conforming.
Okay.
Okay, and the building department will be able to help you find out what you need to do in order to make it conforming, if there is a non-conformity. And I don't know for a certainty that there is, but you know, our comments are that there may be.
All right.
Condition the variance upon legalization of that stuff, you know what I mean? That's all.
Sounds good.
Okay, all right. Any other questions or comments from members of the board or Katie? Is there anyone from the public who is waiting to be heard this evening on Zoom in connection with the application of Matera? This is for property located at 4 Sanderling Lane in East Quogue. If you are waiting to be heard, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
No hands.
No hands. And Michael, I forgot to ask you, have you heard from any of the neighbors?
3 of them, and nobody, you know, has. In fact, one person dropped off a bottle of wine and said, "Congratulations on your new porch." So there's no problems really.
Okay. All right. So with that, Helen, it is yours.
Okay, we're gonna close the public hearing. We'll leave it open for written submissions till July 2nd with a decision on July 15th.
Second.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. I thank you for your comments this evening, Michael. Have a good rest of your night.
Thank you. You also. Bye.
Okay, number 6 on tonight's agenda, Richard Stott. Prop 900, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-268-2-31. Property located at 61 Kyle Road in Hampton Bays. Applicant is requests relief from provisions of the town code. 1, for a proposed covered porch, section 330-11 residential district table of dimensional regulations, for a principal front yard setback of 35.4 feet, 35 feet 5 3/4 inches, where 40 is required. 2, for a proposed addition on the west side of the existing dwelling on a non-conforming lot, section 330-115D1 continuance, for a principal minimum side yard setback of 10.66 feet, 10 feet 8 1/8 of an inch at the closest point of the addition, northwest corner, where 12.8 feet is permitted, and 2, a principal total side yard setback of 23.46 feet, where 10 feet 8 inches and 1/8 plus 12 feet 9 5/8, where 32 is permitted, and 3, for a proposed roof renovation to the east side of the existing dwelling, section 330-84D pyramid height, for a proposed encroachment in the amount of 8.5 cubic feet, and any other relief necessary.
The board has jurisdiction, and I just wanted to say for the record, there was a glitch with the mailings that Mr. Stott was able to address by hand delivering the application to a neighbor and getting a letter in support. So I told Mr. Stott we could proceed with the application, just knowing, you know, that there's always a risk that somebody may turn around and challenge it. But as far as I'm concerned, everyone has been notified who needed to be notified.
Okay. And it was prior to tonight that the adjacent property owner was notified and basically consented.
And we have a letter. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So Richard, I just have to swear you in, so you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Richard Stott, 61 Kyle Road, Hampton Bays, New York.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You can tell us about the application.
Sure. You want to share it, or
we can screen share?
Let's see. Open here.
Screen share would be great.
Okay, yeah, I thought so.
You have to screen share them.
Oh, share screen, okay. Share. Can you see that now?
We can, but it's like only part of it. It's kind of, there we go.
Oh, there you go. That's better.
Okay. So this is the site plan. This tells most of the story right here. The existing house is about 1,000 square feet. It's, you see my pointer, right?
Yes.
It's this area here, the proposed deck. And the gray area to the left where we need this variance is shaded gray. And the area of variance for the front yard is this ramp and porch. This house was purchased by my father-in-law in 2014. Both he and my mother-in-law were confirmed at the time and needed assistance, so we moved them, or they moved themselves, I should say, closer to us, about a half a mile from our house. They both suffered in their aging, and the veterans installed a ramp at the front of the house to that front porch. And it became such a vital and important part of our day-to-day that we decided when we made the decision to move into this house to reinstate that, because we're aging too, and sooner or later that's going to be helpful for us. So we were impressed by how much of a difference it made. So we're asking for a variance for the front to make just a small porch area and a ramp to that so that it becomes easy to access for us as we get older. We've only been there a few weeks now since we moved in, and we've moved from a very large house to this very small house. So the addition is necessary so that we can just practically fit into the space that we need going forward. The variance for that little space on the roof, and I'll show you more of that, but this area here, the roof steps back here, and what I'd like to do is extend the ridge line and gable end from this main part of the roof over to here for two reasons. One is so that, because that was originally built as probably a unconditioned space, a porch, and was later enclosed at some time. I think the house was probably built in the 40s. We would like to improve the roof, the whole roof structure, and especially the insulation, and make it possible to just extrude that roof line so that it's easier to build it, and we can insulate it much better. It'll aesthetically be much nicer looking. The neighbors don't see that little corner of it, and we feel it's very minor and no detriment. There's an existing shed up in the top left corner that was there when they bought the property, and we considered it was actually on the variance request initially. But thinking about it more, we've decided that it would be better for us and the property to relocate that. And that's about it. I can show you the floor plan. The floor plan right now, again, the main part of the house, existing part of the house is in white, and the gray is shown in shaded gray. A garage to the left up front, and then a hallway connecting, and one bedroom, one guest bedroom in the back. We thought of quite a bit and tried a few design ideas about doing a second story, but the structure of a 1940s house and the foundation under it just didn't make me feel very comfortable. So the one story seemed much more practical and a variance more likely than rebuilding the entire structure. So again, this is our house. We'll be living there. We're asking for additional 458 square feet of living space and a 293 square foot garage, and a deck area at floor level for 609 square feet. The elevations show the addition on the front. The front of the house will really look very similar to the existing one. This little low-pitched roof will be a translucent roof to cover the ramp and the porch area. That's about it. Here's the pyramid law. Here's the pyramid line and this little tiny piece of variance we need for the volume of that roof. Here it is shaded in blue on these elevations. Other side has no problem. Section drawings, there it is again on that upper left side. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, well, I just want to mention, Richard, I don't know whether you saw them, but we did get comments from Marjorie Riley, building inspector. So I want to go over those with you.
Okay, I haven't seen those.
You haven't seen them? Okay. All right, so this is what she said. One, the elevations on page A200 of plan shall be revised as follows. One, on the elevation diagram on the bottom right side of the page, the grade line appears to increase from east to west. As such, the grade line shall be redrawn as a straight line. Two, indicate the grade used to draw the pyramid line. Three, indicate overall height of the addition on the west side of the dwelling and the height of the east side of the dwelling, including the proposed raised roof. Two, the site plan shall be revised to one, show the shed at the rear of the property to be removed or relocated to a conforming location. Two, remove excess of parking in the required front yard. Three, revise total lot coverage to include only roof structures. Three, the site plan shall be revised to coincide with the plan/elevations with respect to the amount of pyramid encroachment at the west gable end and the page number associated with said encroachment. The site plan last dated February 16th, 2021 shows an encroachment of 8.5 cubic feet. However, page A200 of the plans dated February 16th, 2021 shows an encroachment to the amount of 8.64 cubic feet. Four, see memo dated May 28, 2021 from Dennis O'Rourke regarding average natural grade for pyramid height and overall height. And five, though not part of this application, the finished basement constructed without the benefit of a building permit shall be legalized.
Okay, I did see those, and I do see that I missed the one about the elevation on the increased roof area, so I don't have the height on that. But I did pick up all those other ones. We just, like I said, we decided not to include the shed, and I had reached out to Dennis about the using a grade reference and sent him some photos. And I think, let's see, he did reply to Candace on that. Candace checked with him and said it would be okay. I got that word that he wouldn't need the datum reference for the grading. And I'll go through that list again and make sure that everything's been taken care of.
If you can, because we just want to make sure that the building department is satisfied with.
Sure.
Because we're going to be referring to these, you know, all these documents and whatever decision we render. But I also want to ask about the finished basement. So there was a finished basement constructed without the building permit. Do you know when that was constructed, how it was?
It's not finished. Does it say it's finished?
Yes.
It says finished basement in what we received from the building department.
Oh, it's not finished. It's
Okay.
not a finished basement.
Well, maybe you can tell me what's there.
It's storage.
Cement.
It's concrete floor. There's a humidity control layer of finish on the wall, but there's no wall finishes. There's no ceilings. There's nothing there. The ceiling's only like 6 feet 6. I can just barely fit in there.
Okay. Well, then you're going to have to talk to the building department about that as to what's going to be required to satisfy that.
Tell me where it says it's a finished basement?
It says, though not part of this application, it's number 5, at the very end of the comments from Marjorie Riley, building inspector. It says, number 5, and though not part of this application, a finished basement constructed without the benefit of a building permit shall be legalized.
No, there's no finished basement.
Well, maybe you want to have someone from the building department take a look and confirm
I
that.
can, yeah, I can send photos, whatever, sure.
Whatever they want to do, we want to make sure that if what you're saying is accurate, that they know that.
Mhm.
Okay. And I think that's it. I mean, otherwise, there's, I see this overall to be a pretty modest application, really. Although we'll see if anyone's here amongst the neighbors. I know you were, I guess you mentioned being in touch with one, but.
I spoke in person with 3 of the 6 neighbors, and there are no objections from them.
All right, well, that's good. Okay, any other questions from members of the board or Katie? Okay.
Nope.
Is there anyone from the public who is waiting to be heard this evening in connection with the application of Stott? This is for property located at 61 Kyle Road in Hampton Bays. So if you're waiting to be heard on Zoom, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
No hands.
Okay. All right. So I would move that we close the application this evening, except for written submissions. The written submissions, Richard, are going to be whatever you want to submit to us from the building department, or your communications to the building department regarding the comments that you just went over. The public hearing will be closed this evening except for written submissions. The deadline for written submissions is July 2nd, and I will have a decision ready on our July 15th meeting.
Second.
Mr. Daly. Mr. Tuthill. Keith, I think you're muted.
And the thumbs up.
Okay. All right. I saw Keith's mouth say aye. I just can't hear. All right. Aye. Ms. Kerr.
Aye.
Ms. Kerr.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you for your comments this evening, Richard. Have a good rest of your night.
All right, I just also wanted to let the board know that I really appreciate Candace's work. She's really fantastic. Of all the projects I've had in all these local municipalities, she stands out as one of the best people I've worked with.
We're lucky to have her.
We are.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
She's the best in the business.
Number 9 on tonight's agenda, Matthew Lucas, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-9-3-82. Property located at 38 Bayview Drive East in Noyak. Applicant requests relief from Town Code Section 330-84D pyramid height for a proposed encroachment in the amount of 3,925 cubic feet, 2,905.4 cubic feet on the east, 1,019.9 on the west side, or proposed 2-story dwelling with attached garage and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction. Adam, Adam, if you have a second, can you just try to mute yourself for 1 second? I just want to see who's got this feedback.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, go ahead. We got Bruce or Matt?
Bruce.
Okay, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Adam has to swear you in.
You muted him. We'll cover if you need to, Adam, if you need to.
Okay, well, I can go back off whenever you want. Okay, please state your name and address for the record, please.
Bruce Anderson, Suffolk Environmental Consulting, Main Street Bridge, Hampton.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You can tell us about the application.
Bruce, 1 second before you get started, Michael Daly here. There was an application that was put in several weeks ago, last 2 digits for 044, last 3 digits. And this one here is 391. Was the 044 for the same address rescinded?
Yes, the original application was yes, I believe we should be following plans that are dated May 5th, 2021.
Okay.
But I'll walk you through it, and I'm going to put up some screenshots anyway. So,
thank you.
So we're here requesting a variance from 330-84D for the construction of a new family, two-story single-family dwelling in a place called Bay Point. The requested pyramid nonconformity would total 3,925 square feet, which would consist of 2,905 cubic feet on the east side, which would be the left side if you're facing the, if you're on the street facing the house, and 1,001.9 square cubic feet on the west side, which would be the right side. The existing property is improved with a single-story house dwelling, which was constructed back in 1971. The dwelling benefits from the CO granted May 17th, 1972 for a one-family dwelling with a carport. It's a bulkheaded waterfront lot. The house has been in this particular family for 30 years. The property owner is a full-time resident and having a couple kids in the local school district. The parcel contains 15,455 square feet, and it's located in an R10 zoning district. And this again is part of that waterfront community known as Bay Point. We've given this characterization before. We have 238 lots, which are 10,000 square feet approximately. And because all of this area is zoned R10, having individual side yards of 10 feet and total side yards of 25 feet, the majority of these lots, particularly two-story houses, will display pyramid non-compliance. Now, of course, most of these lots were developed prior to 1992, so they would be pre-existing non-conforming. And we don't have great information on what that is because in those days, those calculations didn't exist. But we gave you a zoning analysis, and among those lots receiving relief since 92 they range from anywhere between 339 cubic feet to 5,298 cubic feet. The one in the 5,900 cubic foot variance was granted in 2018. If we go to the building plans, that would be helpful in the exterior elevations. You give us a second, we'll put that on a split screen. Screen share rather. I'm in a difficult.
Well, while we're waiting, Bruce, why don't you keep, there we go.
Okay.
All right, we can see it.
All right, can you see that?
Yeah.
So that's a very useful diagram because it shows you what the relief is. And there's a couple of things I want to point out about this particular application. The first thing is what's shaded in blue is the area of nonconformity. You'll see we've added some highlights there. The first thing I want you to take notice of is this is a lot in R10 district, as I've said before. You have a front yard setback of 30 feet, side yard setback individually of 10 feet, and a total side yard setback of 25 feet. So here on the left side, if you will, which would be the eastern side lot line, you have a 14-foot setback. And then on the westerly side lot line, you got a 19-foot setback. So these side yard setbacks increase cumulatively by 8 feet. And that reduces the amount of pyramid that you need, pyramid relief that you need. Now, if you look at the left side, you'll see this is in a flood zone. So the base of the pyramid is drawn at 8 feet above mean sea level, which is the 6-foot elevation required in FEMA plus a 2-foot freeboard. And so that portion of there is at 32 feet. And then you'll notice as you pan to the right, the roof drops down by a couple of feet on the right side. And so that roof height is approximately 30 feet. So the idea is that the right side that you're seeing there is lower than the left side. And the reason for that is if you look at the exterior elevation, that it maintains the same roof pitch, so the house doesn't look awkward. So the left side is sort of a wider space. That's really where the garage you can see. And above that is the master bedroom. And the left side is just a regular bedroom, but the roof pitches are alike. And you'll also hopefully take notice that the actual roof of the house is somewhat lower than what's allowable in this district. So one of the benefits of this design is you're giving more space between the houses on each side. And I think that's important to take notice of. Because it's a waterfront lot and a bulkheaded lot, it has to be set back in this application by 57 feet from the bulkhead. So in a normal, R10 lot, you could build a completely different house at the same size, and you would, because you'd have a 30-foot front and a 30-foot rear. Here we got a 57-foot, what is a technical front because it's in the it's a waterfront lot, and as the board well is aware, you reverse the front and rear yards of this. You should know that this proposed house has received all the approvals from environmental approvals, including those of the Conservation Board and also the New York State DEC. Also, the subject property falls within the town's CPF Water Quality Improvement Plan District. And as proposed, we are installing the IA out system, which is the alternative septic system that complies in all respects with the regulations, town regulations at 123-52. Also be advised that the proposed dwelling and its septic system has received approval from Suffolk County Department of Health Services. Of course, the project will comply with all the town's stormwater management regulations. And of course, the project as designed complies with the FEMA regulations. We submit that the grant of variance will not cause an undesirable change in the neighborhood as the proposed dwelling is consistent with similar dwellings that are being redeveloped in this area. This area is undergoing a complete renaissance, really, and you'll see a lot of construction going on down there. And it's all becoming much more high-end than it was in comparison to how it was originally developed. The pyramid relief we are seeking is within the range of relief that has been granted in this area. And as I mentioned before, that we've tried to minimize that by increasing the side yard setbacks on either side and decreasing the overall height of the roof. The application, the applicant contacted several of his neighbors, and you'll find in your file that you have 4 letters of support. They're from Charlie Canavan, Mitch Burke, and Robert Schultz, and Mark Hasklinger. The benefits we seek with a variance is because we're limited in lot depth for this house. The board should take notice that the project complies with the coverage limitations on the lot. Our coverage calculations come out at 18%, where 20 is permitted. That the variance is not a substantial relationship to the area of the lot, the width of the lot, and the sizing of the existing dwelling. And that the granting of the variance would not have an adverse impact on the physical and environmental conditions of the site. So it's our position that the benefit of the applicant to request a determination is granted would outweigh any detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or the community. Our benefit, obviously, would be the construction of a new house. The house that's there is in terrible condition. And we submit there's no detriment to the surrounding neighborhood. Of course, I'm here to answer any questions you may
Okay, well, I just want to mention just initially, Bruce, I appreciate your detailed analysis. That's always very helpful for us. This area of Bay Point is an area in Egg Harbor with a lot of small lots. They've got a long history of people requesting variance relief because the lots are small. And it is the nature of this particular community that they need variance relief often to do almost anything with their property. But I also want to mention that pyramid relief is relatively common in this area, and that the amount of pyramid relief that's being requested, less than 2,500 cubic feet, is modest compared to what other applicants have asked for. But that having been said, I want to ask whether you heard from any of the neighbors, and maybe you mentioned that already a little bit, but you can tell us a little bit more.
Well, I have not heard from the neighbors. The applicant went around to his neighbors and he secured 4 letters of support, which are in your file draft.
Okay, but you're not aware of
I asked him.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, hold on.
Yes.
Did you say, maybe I misunderstood you. The request here is for relief of 3,925 cubic feet.
My notes have relief of, oh, you're correct. The amount is 3,925.3. My notes I set up. Maybe it was changed actually. That was probably because the application was revised.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah. And my comment is that feels like a lot for that area, both on what we have granted, and just in going down and seeing the property. That feels like a lot of relief for me on this project. I know that we have extended as much as 3,000 cubic feet for a very small lot. Bertero in 2019. Is there any opportunity, Bruce, for that to be reduced? I mean, there's this piece of the house that kind of juts out there on the east. It's the east side that I'm really concerned about, not as much as the west side, but there's this piece that juts out on the east that seems to be responsible for at least a good part of that. Has there been any options for reducing this request?
You know, the homeowner, you know, I'd have to discuss that with the homeowner, but I do want to say that you know, we had shown a variance as high as I believe it was 5298 cubic feet. And like I said, I think my own sense is that, and I'll certainly request it. I have no issue doing that, but what we try to do again is to try to open up the side yards. In other words, don't take full advantage of the 10-foot minimum side yard setback and the 25 overall. And, you know, our hope was in making it, you know, giving up a little bit on those side yards, that it would be sort of open from view, and it would not be overpowering to the properties on either side. And the other thing I could say too is, because I don't think the fronting view is, you know, and I like the way, you know, we sort of like the way the roof pitches work here. We have, you know, we're 57 feet back from the bulkhead, instead of 30 that we could have been. You would see probably a different house if you could get closer to the water. But I'm certainly happy to mention to the client, and if there's things that we can do, we should certainly try to do them. But I do want the board to take notice on some of these design elements, because they were not, a lot of thought went into this. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I can see that. It just feels like this this whole piece on the left part of the house, on the east part of the house, is more of a fancy architectural detail than anything, and a good section of it is creating that pyramid. And what I will say is that the house to the east of it is a very small house. And perhaps someday they'll be coming and asking for something similar. But the two houses to the west of it are fairly decent sized houses, and both were constructed keeping the pyramid in mind, and you can tell that by their roof lines. So I know today's a different day, and it's becoming much more common for people to come and ask for variances, and we are granting them. I'm just giving you, I'm speaking as one member of the board. This feels like a lot of relief for me on that spot. And that's my point.
Well, and Mike, I just pulled that Anello decision. That lot was 6,813 square feet and the house was 1,570 square feet.
And
Smaller
how
lot,
much was the
smaller house.
relief? How much was the relief on that?
5,298, but smaller lot, smaller house.
Right.
Bruce, I wanted to ask, because I had my notes from the original application, not the revised application. What was the calculation different on the pyramid in the revised application, or was the plan changed in terms of what?
There was a plan. There was a plan change.
There was a plan change. Okay, so it got bigger.
Well, what he did was he extended that dormer. You know, if you look at the left side of what Michael's talking about, that is the master bedroom. The squarish piece that you see there is a closet space that goes over the garage, because the garage has a small 4 foot or so bump out for storage, because when you get the car in, it's hard to get around the car. And so they took advantage of that space and they made that into a closet. Now, like I said, I'm perfectly happy to discuss it with my client, but there's a rationale as to why that's there.
Yeah.
And, you know, in other respects, they also curtailed it on the west side, because in the back of the building, they reduced it to a 1-story, which has just a roof deck. So you should be aware of that. I'm happy to discuss it with them. And see what can be done, but
yeah, and I just want to mention that Michael's concerns that he's made, you know, are my concerns too. I would much rather see an application for 2,500 cubic feet of relief, where I stand by what I said originally before the application was revised, versus the number we're at, which is the 3,925. So if you can talk to your client, and then again, I'm also speaking just as one board member about seeing whether we can reduce the pyramid relief, that would be helpful.
Yeah, and I have no concern with the west side, Bruce. I just, it's the east side that just appears to be a lot.
All right, let's see what the public, what about the public?
Yes, and any other questions, members of the board?
No public.
No public. Well, okay, so but I still want to say it, okay? Is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard this evening in connection on Zoom in connection with the application of Lucas? This is for property located at 38 Bayview Drive East in Noyak. If you were waiting to be heard, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand. Nobody's raising their hand. Okay. All right. So we got to figure out what we want to do here. Now
Let the record show there's no opposition.
I understand.
Understood.
The applicant can leave the application as is. The application could reduce the amount of pyramid relief that's being requested. We've asked Bruce to present that to the applicant, but that's only 2 members of this board that have made that request.
I'd like to hear it also.
I'm sorry?
I said I would also like to hear if there can be some reduction.
As I said, I'm happy to discuss with the applicant. I didn't design the house. I'm just
understood
putting together the application.
Okay.
Understood. Would appreciate that. Would you like to come back, Bruce, and respond to that?
Yes.
At a future meeting? Okay.
Yes.
Good. So our next meetings are, let's see, what are the dates of our next meeting? We have room at our.
We have
July
room.
1st, July
7.
15th.
Okay, July 1st is our next meeting, and after that is the 15th.
I would recommend the 15th.
Would you? Okay. All right, that's okay, Candace, and we're good with that? Okay, good. So we'll leave this open for the next appearance on July 15th.
Second.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess, Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you for your comments this evening. Bruce, have a good rest of your night.
Thanks
Thank you
very
very
much.
much. Appreciate your time.
Okay, application number 10 of Joseph Vulpes, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-33-3-1. Property is located at 2 Roses Grove Road in North Sea. Applicant requests relief from Town Code Section 330-109A1, fence walls, accessory driveway structures, and clotheslines to legalize the following constructed without the benefit of a building permit. 1, a 6-foot fence that runs east to west along the north side of the masonry block patio that is located on the west side of the dwelling. And 2, a masonry wall with a fence on top runs north to south along the west side of the patio and has an overall height of 6 feet, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction. Looking for Robert Lucas.
Yep, Robert is there. Robert, you have to unmute. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's have to swear you in, so if you can state your name and address, please.
Robert Lucas, 14 Noyak Avenue West, Sag Harbor, New York.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. If you can tell us about the application.
Yes, the application is to maintain a 6-foot fence that is down the Noyak Road side and on the Roses Grove side. Based on the business of that road, I think most people on the board know that Roses Grove is a very busy road, and that's a very busy corner. A little history on the property is that I purchased the property back in 2018, and the property had a building permit at it on the time and a foundation in. The foundation was in there since 2004 and was sitting, basically abandoned. And I approached the building department to see what the situation was. I was told at the building department that this is prior to me buying it. I was told at the building department that the permits had expired, but all I needed to do was renew the permits. I proceeded to purchase the property. I then went into the building department and paid them $2,200 and renewed the permits. About 3 months later, I came back with an amended set of plans. I did not start the house. And I was then told that I was mistakenly given a renewal on the permit, and that I would have to reapply to the Conservation Department, the DEC, the road, it's town, Southampton Town, Road Department, go through the whole rigmarole, which was a year and a half in the making. I was told I had to go to the DEC to check out the current flagging on the lot, if that was still good. I did that. The DEC came out and confirmed that the flags were still good where they were. I then went into the Conservation Department, and the Conservation Department said to me that they supersede the DEC, and Marty Shea came out and flagged a lot, and we lost about 16 feet in the back. Now, if you can see that, we were talking about an acre lot, and we only have probably less than a third of an acre of usable property, and that got shrunk by 16 feet. So what that caused us to do was we went from moving the pool to the back of the house and being able to have a nice private yard in the backyard, to pushing the pool over towards Noyak Road, reducing the pool from a 16-foot pool down to a 10-foot wide pool, and pushing it into the side yard. Hence, we had to have any kind of usable space around the pool. We constructed a patio within the restrictions of the conservation department, and but it did push us closer to Noyak Road, which is a very, very noisy road, and that is a very busy corner. I received, in trying to sell the house, I received a lot of pushback on people that could not only hear the road, but could see the road over the 4-foot fence that I had. Not knowing that I had to apply for a 6-foot fence, I installed the stone wall for sound reasons, and then a wooden fence, not a stockade fence, but a mahogany fence. And I made it double-sided so that it would be nice on the outside, nice on the inside, and I tried to make it as soundproof as possible. So it wasn't until the conservation department, the building department, picked up on it that I had installed the fence, that I had to make the application. So that's where I am now. Now the house is sold, and the homeowner has been there for just about a year, maybe a little longer. And I would hate to have to upset what he bought, and have to lower the fence down to 4 feet. The other thing is the fact that it's a corner lot. We have 2 front yards, so the 6-foot fence can't go down the side of the house, because that's considered the front yard. So I would lose that 4-foot, that 2 extra feet. That is a buffer for sound, and B, a visual thing. The other thing is, right now, currently, if people have driven by there, it is completely surrounded with shrubs that are indigenous to the wetlands, and you virtually can't see the fence now. So I'm not sure if anybody on the board has gone by, but that's the situation right now.
So Robert, you may be aware, I'm not sure, how we handle fence applications generally at the board. Okay, we had an application tonight for agricultural property, for deer fencing, for agricultural production. That is an area where we are willing to grant relief for fences higher than what zoning allows. In almost no other circumstance do we grant relief for fences, whether they're as-built or not, that don't comply with zoning. It is extremely rare. And the argument of noise and safety is an argument we've heard over and over and over and over again. And if we were to agree with that argument, we would have fences from one end of this town on every semi-busy road to the other that would need variances. We would be inundated with variance applications for fences. So this is a hard sell. So that's that. And I'm speaking as one member of this board, but I'm telling you where I am, and I understand it's as-built, but it's a hard sell. If we grant relief to you, I assure you, we will have 150 applications within 6 months for the same relief. So that's where I am. I'm not in favor of this.
So may I ask a question? What is the situation when people build berms and then put a fence on top of the berm?
It's the same thing.
No good.
Same thing.
No good. No good.
Makes this the same thing. And actually, we've had litigation.
Ask Wilbur Ross.
Really? Yeah. Makes no difference. Yeah. So it is a hard sell.
So let me ask you a question. That means I have to take the 6-foot fence down along the Noyak Road side all the way to the back of the house and in the front of the house, or just in front of the house?
Whatever doesn't comply with zoning, you would have to remedy. You have to you reduce it in size.
And whatever's located in the buffer.
Why in the buffer?
Not
Because-
allowed to be there.
Yeah, if you established a non-vegetated, non-disturbance, non-fertilization buffer on the property and the conservation board is saying there's structures within that buffer.
Well, within the buffer, you're talking about a couple of inches. You're not talking about, 10 feet. I mean, you see that right there. And if you go back to 2015, when Marty Shea staked out the property, there was a lot more land there. The DEC tells me it's fine, and Marty Shea says it's not. I go to the board, I go to conservation, and they tell me that, well, they asked me if I'm okay with it, and I said I'm okay with it. So I screwed myself by saying I'm okay with it instead of fighting it back then. So now the reason that I had to do that was because they reduced the size of the usable land.
I agree with you. But at this point, we can't do anything with the buffer for you, unfortunately. That's outside of our purview.
I'm not worried about the buffer right now. If I have to move something, I'll move it. What I'm concerned about is that I have to take a fence down on Noyak Road that you can't even see. Noyak Road is littered with 6-foot fences along it.
Absolutely, and they're non-conforming, and they should be cited by the town for violating the code.
I understand that.
Yep.
What?
Rob, in the notes, I don't know if you saw the notes on this. It does say, I think Dennis O'Rourke put this. In addition, only approximately 20 linear feet of the wall with fence on top that runs north to south along the west side of the patio is in violation. Does that mean, is that the wall that, do you know what 20 linear feet that is?
Well, I'm assuming, and I don't know for sure, if that it's the property that runs, parallel to Noyak Road.
Can you zoom in on that, please?
Yeah, you might want to find out what that 20 linear feet is, and because right now it sounds to me like you're concerned you have to take the entire thing down. But Dennis says here that a 4-foot fence is sufficient to meet requirements for a swimming pool. In addition, only approximately 20 linear feet of the wall with fence on top that runs north to south along the west side of the patio is in violation. So it may not be as bad. I mean, not that,
Well, it is bad because I have to take down the fence on the Roses Grove side, which I assume is the east side, okay? I have to take down the north side, which is the Noyak Road, and the west side would be the spot that is adjacent to the wetlands, and that is approximately 40 or 50 feet long.
Well, it shouldn't have been built without a permit. That's the problem. I mean, there are certain things that this board finds are not within the character of the neighborhood and the community, and fences and walls over the permitted height are typically those things. So had you applied for permits, you might not have built them first.
Okay. Well, listen, I've heard enough from the board, and I know where I stand.
Okay,
I rest my case.
Wish you all the best, but we just can't grant the relief here, I don't think. So that's where we are. So it just has to be made to conform.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So before you leave, I just want to ask if there is anyone from the public who is waiting to be heard this evening in connection with the application of Opus. This is for property located at 2 Roses Grove Road in North Sea. If there is anyone who's waiting to be heard, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
No public.
No public. Okay, Brian, it's yours.
Okay, so seeing or hearing No one. I move that we close the public hearing, leaving it open for written submissions till July 2nd with a decision on July 15th.
Second.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you for your comment this night. Tonight, have a good rest of your evening.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, number 17 tonight, Jar Zapata. Suffolk County Tax Map 900-97-1-29 for property located at 1087 North Sea Road in North Sea. Applicant requests relief.
The holdover.
Of the held over, so, okay.
Yep. I think we have Kevin for this. That sound right?
Yeah, that's what the application says.
Anybody here for this?
Oh, yeah.
Kevin was here and left, so I'm gonna make him, I think we should put it over.
Maybe we should do the decisions and then second call and then do that, Brian.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So I have one I can start out with. I have one, pull it up here. I have a decision in the matter of East Quogue Development LLC. Suffolk County Tax Map 900-316-1-23. Application is for a single and separate determination for property located at 12 East End Avenue in East Quogue. This board finds that the applicant has met the standards for a finding that the subject premises located at 12 East End Avenue in East Quogue, Town of Southampton, tax map number 900-316-1-23, is a single and separate 9,695 square foot lot as shown on the survey prepared by Floyd Carrington of Rayner, Marks and Carrington, last revised May 10th, 2021, and is thus entitled to relief pursuant to Town Code Section 330-115D. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Miss Burgess,
No.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and Mr. Grossman recuses himself.
Okay, next I have a determination in the matter of the application of IKRO Properties LLC. This is for property located at Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-234-16.2. This application is for property located at 65 Middle Pond Road in Shinnecock Hills. Applicant here seeks a height and pyramid variance for a single-family dwelling construction. This application passes the standards set forth in the town code and the upstate town law. Therefore, this board grants relief to the applicant from the town code for the existing dwelling as follows: 330-84D pyramid height for an existing encroachment of 350.3 cubic feet on the west side and an encroachment of 16 cubic feet on the east side. And 330-11 residential districts table of dimensional regulations for a height of 32.85 feet, where 32 feet is required for structures shown on the survey made by Colonial Surveying, PC, last dated January 28th, 2021, and the plans and elevations prepared by Paul W. Delandro, PE, dated March 29th, 2021, last revised April 12th, 2021. The granting of this relief is subject to the conditions of such other permits as the applicant has already acquired and may otherwise have to acquire final approval of the subject premises.
Second.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. I next have a determination in the matter of the application of Candace Clanahan. This is for property located at Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-258-442. This application is for property located at 8 Neptune Avenue in Hampton Bays. The applicants here seek variances in connection with the conversion of an existing basement into an accessory apartment in a dwelling with non-conforming setbacks. This application was initially advertised for all variances, which included parking for the apartment in the front yard, and then was re-advertised as many of the variances were not called out. There was a discussion with the board about parking at the second public hearing, wherein it was noted that perhaps a variance would not be required once a portion of the paper road was abandoned. However, that abandonment has not been effectuated yet. As such, this decision includes the parking variance. This application passes the standards set forth in the town code and New York State town law. Therefore, this board grants applicant relief from the following provisions of the town code for a proposed accessory apartment with an existing dwelling. 1, 330.11.2 special standards. 1, to allow an accessory apartment to be located on a lot that is less than 30,000 square feet. 2, for a lot area of 6,000 square feet where 16,000 square feet is required, 80% of the required 20,000 square feet. 3, for a lot width of 60 feet where 84 feet is required, 70% of the required 120 feet. 4, for a principal front yard setback of 24 feet where 28 feet is required from the westerly property line, Hampton Road, 70% of the required 40 feet. 5, a principal minimum side yard setback of 9.7 feet where 14 feet is required, 70% of the required 20 feet. And 6, for a principal rear yard setback of 29.6 feet where 42 feet is required, 70% of the required 60 feet. And 2, relief on 330.11.2G to allow the size of the accessory apartment to be in excess of 35% of the total floor area of the principal dwelling, 39.3%. And 3, 330.11.2L to allow the entrance to the accessory apartment, basement entrance, to be located in the front yard where said entrance to the accessory apartment shall be from the side or rear yard. In addition, this board grants relief from the following provisions of the town code. 330.77G, placement of accessory building structures and uses in residence districts to allow the AC unit to be located 8.3 feet from the easterly property line where 10 feet is required. And 2, 330.11 residential districts table of dimensional regulations to clarify the records for a principal front yard setback of 36.4 feet where 40 feet is required for the front covered porch. And town code 330.11.2J to allow the off-street parking space for the accessory apartment to be located within the required minimum front yard, but such space shall be adequately screened with landscape plantings, which shall include evergreen shrubs not less than 3 feet in height at the time of the installation. These variances are granted for structures as shown on the survey prepared by Gary Benz, surveyor, last revised May 27, 2021, and the plans and elevations prepared by architect dated January 7, 2021, and received by this board May 13, 2021. This board also grants relief from, well, doesn't really say. Katie, are we missing something here? This is, I think might be a typo.
Oh, yeah, that's just a typo.
Typo, okay. This decision is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired and may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises, including but not limited to an accessory apartment application form.
Second.
Mr. Tuthill.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. DeSanto.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. I next have a decision in the matter of the application of John and Audrey Newenhouse. This is for property located at Suffolk County Tax Map number 909-36.1. I think the application is just for John Newenhouse. This application is for property located at 61 Harbor Drive, Sag Harbor. Applicants here request variances for a proposed dwelling and swimming pool on a lot constrained by wetlands and burdened by 2 front yards. This application passes the standards set forth in the town code and New York State town law. Therefore, in the interest of justice, the reasons set forth herein, this board grants applicant relief from the provisions of zoning code 330.11 residential districts table of dimensional regulations for a principal rear yard setback of 26 feet where 30 feet is required for a proposed residence. An accessory distance from street setback front yard of 16 feet where 40 feet is required from the southerly property line, Harbor Drive, for a proposed pool. This board additionally grants applicant relief on the provisions of zoning code 330.84D, pyramid relief for a proposed encroachment in the amount of 487 cubic feet for a proposed residence. This board grants applicant relief from provisions of zoning code section 330.76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and zoning code 330.83C yards to allow the proposed pool to be located within the required front yard of the principal building. The two-story residence pool will have the dimensional requirements and location as shown on the survey of David Elsaskis, surveyor, originally surveyed June 19, 2019, last revised May 11th, 2021, as well as the plans and pyramid sketch of Turco Designs by Bruce Matthew Hampton, architect, dated May 5th, 2021, which were submitted with the application and are incorporated herein. Granted, the foregoing relief is subject to the conditions of such other permits as the applicant has heretofore required or may otherwise be necessary for final approval of the two-story residence and pool to be built at the subject property.
Second.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. I next have a determination on the matter of the application of 135 New Light LLC. This is for property located at Suffolk County Tax Map Number 908-133.2. This application is for property located at 135 New Light Lane in Bridgehampton. Applicant here requests variances for the height of the dwelling and for a proposed tennis court, but withdrew the request for the tennis court after discussions with the board and adjacent property owners. This application passes the standards set forth in the town code and New York State town law. Therefore, this board grants the applicant relief from Town Code 33011 Residential District Table of Dimensional Regulations to allow the height of the proposed two-story dwelling to be 33 feet 4 inches, where a maximum of 32 feet is permitted, as shown on the survey prepared by Jeffrey Hatterer of Twin Forks Land Surveying, dated August 1st, 2013, last revised June 16, 2021, and the plans prepared by Ralph Pacifico, PE of Gorilla Design and Build, last revised July 30th, 2020. This decision is conditioned upon the planting and maintenance in perpetuity by the applicant and all successes and interests of evergreens of a height of 20 to 22 feet, 20 feet to 22 feet along the shared side yard lot line between the premises and 143 New Light Lane, from the front corner of the principal dwelling running the length of the primary dwelling to the intersection of that line where the rear yard lot line commences on property located at 143 New Light Lane, as shown on the aforementioned survey, prior to the issuance of any certificate of occupancy or compliance. The grant of the foregoing relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises.
Second.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. I next have a determination on the matter of the application of Liliana Danzo for property located at Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-339-147 and 902-4319. This application is for property located at 22 Lakewood Avenue, East Quogue. The applicant here seeks variances in connection with additions to a modest 378 square foot pre-existing dwelling and to legalize two sheds built on a non-conforming lot burdened by wetlands and located within a flood zone. This application passes the standards set forth in the town code and New York State town law for all portions except for the metal shed, which is not consistent with the character of the neighborhood, is large, close to the property line, and was built without the benefit of a building permit. Therefore, this board grants applicant relief from the following provisions of the town code. 1, for a proposed one-story addition, a proposed second-story addition, and proposed second-story roof over open deck on an existing dwelling. 1, relief from Town Code 330-115C, continuance for a principal total side yard setback of 33.8 feet where 37.6 feet is existing, and for a principal front yard setback of 13.8 feet where 23.3 feet is existing, and relief from Town Code 330-84D, pyramid height for proposed encroachment in the amount of 1,003 cubic feet north side. 2, for a proposed roof over open deck on the east side of the dwelling, relief from Town Code 330-115C, continuance for a principal front yard setback of 16.3 feet where 23.3 feet is existing. 3, for a proposed screen porch addition to the existing dwelling, relief from Town Code 330-11 Residential Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for a principal front yard setback of 36.3 feet where 40 feet is required from the west property line of Lakeside Lane. And 4, for the proposed relocation of a 4.5 foot by 8.3 foot shed constructed without the benefit of a building permit. 1, Town Code 330-11 for a distance from street setback front yard, easterly property line, Lakewood Avenue. of 15.2 feet where 70 feet is required. 2, relief from Town Code 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and Town Code 330-83C yards to allow the shed to be located within the required front yard of the principal building. And 3, Town Code 330-76A to allow the shed to be located 0 feet from the main building where a minimum of 5 feet is required. The granting of this variance is conditioned upon the exterior walls of the shed and the dwelling having fire protection in compliance with the New York State Code. These variances are granted for structures as shown on the survey prepared by John Gallagher, land surveyor, last updated April 21st, 2021, and the plans and elevations prepared by architect Alexander Joseph Kahn, printed November 4th, 2020, and received by this board on March 24th, 2021. This board denies the request for variances for the metal shed constructed without a building permit, and as such, it must be removed or permit secured from the village of Quogue prior to the issuance of any town certificates of occupancy or compliance.
Second.
Mr. Tuthill.
Aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Let me see, Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
No,
Chair votes aye. Okay, I have 2 more. Next, Viva Group LLC, tax rep number 999-151. This application is for property located at 5 Kings Lane in North Sea. Applicant here seeks a single and separate determination as well as variances in connection with the dwelling and covered front porch. This application passes the standards set forth in the Town Code and New York State Town Law. Therefore, this board finds that the subject parcel is a single and separate 14,022 square foot lot and thus entitled to relief pursuant to 330-115D. Further, this board grants relief from Town Code 330-115D, 1, for a total side yard setback of 38.3 feet where 46.5 feet is permitted for the proposed dwelling, and 2, for a principal front yard setback of 38.5 feet where 40 feet is permitted for the proposed covered front porch. These variances are granted for structures as shown on the survey prepared by Nathan Taft Colvin III, dated March 26, 2019, last revised May 12, 2021, and the floor plans dated June 16, 2020, last revised February 26, 2021, and the elevation/pyramid diagram dated May 18, 2021, both prepared by architect Ray Donald. The grant of the foregoing relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired and may otherwise have to require for final approval of the subject premises.
Second.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
aye.
Ms. Kern.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. And the last one I've got,
Kevin is here.
application of Ralph and Mia Petrillo. This is for property located at Suffolk County Tax Rent Number 942-119.1. This application is for property located at 9 East Beach Drive in North Sea. Applicants here request variances for a proposed dwelling and deck on a lot surrounded by wetlands on 2 sides with a right-of-way running through the lot. This application passes the standards set forth in the Town Code and New York State Town Law. Therefore, in the interest of justice, and for the reasons set forth herein, this board grants applicants relief from the provisions of zoning code 330-83K yards as it relates to 330-11 residential districts table of dimensional regulations for a principal minimum side yard setback of 6.3 feet where 10 feet is permitted, and relief from zoning code 330-84D, pyramid relief for a proposed encroachment in the amount of 5,023 feet, all for a proposed 2-story residence. This board additionally grants applicants relief from the provisions of zoning code 330-11 residential districts table of dimensional regulations for an accessory side yard setback of 6.2 feet where 10 feet is permitted for the proposed deck. The proposed 2-story residence and deck will have the dimensional requirements and location as shown on the survey of Rayner Marks and Carrington Surveying by Floyd Carrington Surveyor, dated June 6, 2019, last revised May 19, 2021, as well as the elevations and pyramid sketch of Stephen Rossetti, architect, dated April 22nd, 2021, last revised June 14th, 2021, and the floor plans of Anthony S. Pisari, dated August 30th, 2020, and received by the Zoning Board of Appeals on May 28th, 2021, which were submitted with the application and are incorporated herein. Granted, the foregoing relief is subject to the conditions of such other permits as the applicants heretofore required or may otherwise be necessary for final approval of the 2-story residence with an attached deck to be built to the subject property.
Second.
Ms. Tessa,
Aye.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill,
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. That's all I got.
I have a determination.
Okay.
I have a determination in the matter of the application of Lawrence Prager for a 110 by 55-foot tennis court on non-conforming property located at 628 Head Pond Road, Watermill. Property is identified on the Suffolk County Tax Map as 900-101-1-10.3. The zoning board finds this application passes the standards set forth in the town code as well as the standards set forth in the New York State town law. Therefore, this board grants applicant relief for proposed 110 by 55-foot tennis court from the provisions of Southampton Town Zoning Code 1, Section 330-11, Residential Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for an accessory distance from the street setback front yard of 62 feet where 70 feet is required, and 2, Section 330-77D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in residential residence districts for a proposed rear yard coverage of 22.2% where a maximum of 20% is permitted, as shown on the survey prepared by Squires, Holden, Weisenbacher, and Smith, dated April 1st, 2021. This decision is conditioned on the maintenance by the applicant and all successors in interest in the property of a vegetative screening on the northern side yard as shown in the area view of the property as presented at the May 20, 2021 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. The grant of the foregoing relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has heretofore acquired or may otherwise be necessary for final approval of the proposed tennis court to be built on the subject property.
Second.
Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Mr. Tessa,
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill,
Aye.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Burgess.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Motion to close.
It looks like Mr.
Yo,
Springer's here.
don't you want a second call Zapata or what?
I don't.
I don't blame you. CYA.
Okay, so I think we already read it. So Kevin has had to swear you in. I don't, well, actually, I may not have to swear you in if I previously.
Yes, I was previously sworn in.
Previously sworn in, okay, just so you can just pretty much update us as to where you are.
Well, you had asked for a difference in pricing. There is a minimum. We couldn't get too much into it because they really have to get an engineer out there, but it's $30,000 to $35,000 more. I put in some photos to show you the sloping of the backyard, how it tails off from north to south, or actually from south to north, my apologies. We have a window well there, which I had mentioned the last time. We also have a manhole cover for one of the cesspools. And that's, that was basically the gist of it. Just really is almost impossible. Then you have no place to even put any patio or decking to even have something back there. So.
Okay, so I remember the discussion was about the placement of the pool. So it's going to cost some money in order for this pool to be at a conforming location because I believe it had to do with the topography.
Yes. There's a minimum of a 7 to 8 foot drop off, actually just in the corner of the house down, or have to be 20 feet off the manhole cover, which is basically a cesspool cover anyway. So we have the window well there for the legal finished basement. It's just, there's a lot of things going on back there, and that was the only reason we made it small. Again, as I had mentioned earlier, we've kept it all our distances, according to code, my apologies. And that's it.
Okay. Brian, I remember you were particularly concerned about this one. Wait, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. I understand, but I just think that finances alone aren't indicative of the granting of a variance. And if there's a conforming location, I struggle with having a conforming location. To have a conforming location to put a pool, I understand that it's more, but I'm struggling with that. That's my concern.
The price really isn't the overriding decision here, is the fact of the topography and having a legal window well.
Right, but you could put a pool, they could stick half of it out of the ground, there's a lot of things they could do in terms of design. So I thought your argument was the cost, and that's why I was struggling, but if you were saying you don't want to put it there, then my answer is even simpler in my mind.
No, it's not just the cost. It's I have a lot going on back there to squeeze one in, and then I have absolutely nothing left once the pool is in. It would basically be just a lap pool. Plus, it would be in a very expensive lap pool. You know, I have a cesspool there that I have to worry about. I have propane tanks. I have window wells. I mean, there's some pictures that I submitted, photos of the backyard to show what was going on. That's really.
Any of that on the survey? We don't have any of that on the survey.
I don't have any of that.
Nope.
You have the window well and the manhole cover. You have the same one I have.
Yeah, but
The
there's
only
still
thing
looks
that's
like
not on there is the propane tank. Got a second story deck and a window well below. There you go. And then I got a manhole cover here. So there's all this is in here, which takes away, I still got to be 10 feet off of here, 5 feet off of this. I mean, it's going to be a skinny little lap pool.
Yeah. And I understand on the one hand what Brian's saying, but I'm also thinking, sometimes we'll grant relief because like there's an old tree, as an example, that someone doesn't want to disturb. And so they could cut down the tree, but we don't want them to for environmental reasons. So that's why I wanted you to come back and give us the information.
So this is all.
I can't hear him.
Right, well, and this is a concrete window well. This isn't even movable. The propane tanks are for the kitchen. Yeah, it's going in and out again.
What is the total?
Tonight, I don't know what's going on.
I don't see it. What's the minimum required side yard there?
Any better?
We're hearing you.
Katie or Candace, what is the required minimum side yard there? I just don't see that on the app. Am I missing it?
Say that again?
I think it's just the placement of it. I think it meets the setbacks. It's just the placement. Is that correct, Candace?
The setback is the 50 feet, 10 off the side, but it's in the required side yard.
No, but it's located within the minimum required side yard. So that's what I'm asking. What is that number?
I have to pull the zoning district to see. Hold on a minute.
An R20.
Brian, are you thinking that if it were like moved, like
if it was moved closer to the patio, the way that I'm interpreting is if it's moved closer to the patio, then it won't violate the minimum required side yard.
The minimum required side yard would be 20 feet.
All right, so he's got room there. If this thing went 20 foot off the line, he doesn't need a variance.
I was thinking the same thing. You cannot move it towards the patio more?
That's what I'm thinking, Kevin, because
Right.
if you were at 20 from the property line, you don't need a variance based on the write-up.
No, I can check that when I officially staked it out, it looks a little bit different than from the actual survey. I can go there tomorrow and take a peek and see. I mean, if that's possible, then we can do that.
If it's 20 and you don't need a variance, then you don't need to be here. But if it's 20 and you still need a lesser variance, I would be inclined to do that. But it looks like you got a lot of room between the covered trellis and the pool. So
I agree.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'll see if I can get the surveyor out there with me tomorrow. And, I think we were coming off the fence a little bit too, that's not the actual property line. So
yeah, I read the code. If I thought from the write up to what Candace just told me at the 20 feet, if you're at 20, you don't need a variance.
I'll see how close I can get to that then.
I mean, I think you should get to 20. It looks like you got 20 there.
No, it looks like it. Definitely looks like it. According to this, when you walk the property, for some reason, it doesn't look like there's that much room.
Yeah.
But I will double check that.
Is there a topography change and going
No, that's the section from where the pool, from the western end of the pool to the front road.
It's flat there, Adam.
That's about the
It's
only
flat
flat
there.
spot on the property.
That's what I was asking. I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure this is doable.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, let me go take a peek tomorrow, and we guess we can keep it open again.
I mean, I'm happy to keep it open for written subs if you want. I mean, don't hold it up. Like, I'm good with written subs, and you give me a revised survey showing the pool at 20 and/or you don't need relief.
Okay.
But I'm just one.
Are we good with written subs?
I am.
If it's 20 feet.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Let me take a walk.
Agreed.
Okay. All right. So in the meantime, any other questions or members of the board or Katie? Is there anyone from the public who's waiting to be heard on Zoom in connection with the application of Zapata? This is for property located at 1087 North Sea Road in North Sea. If you're waiting to be heard, this would be the time to let us know by raising your hand.
I am the audience.
Okay. If not, I believe.
Charles, do you have anything to say? All right.
All right.
Anything else?
Thank you.
No,
Thank you.
Just need a motion to be made.
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion to close. What we're going to be doing written subs till July 2nd and July 15th for decision, correct?
Yes.
July 2nd, 15th. Okay.
Okay. All right. Then we have a second on that?
Second.
Second. Okay. Ms. Kern,
Aye.
Ms. Tudhill,
Aye.
let me see, Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Ms. Burgess,
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa,
Aye.
Joe votes aye. Thanks again, Kevin.
Have a good evening.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a-
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Brian.
Now motion to
Good
close.
one.
Okay. So, anything else? We're good to close? Okay.
Motion to close.
Second.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye.
We are closed. Thank
Gracias.
you, Katie. Thank you, Candace.